Warning: the following video presentation contains scenes of extreme deliciousness. Failure to either eat first or bring a snack to consume during the presentation could result in wanting to lick the screen or in some way act the fool. Ain't nobody want that. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, boys and ghouls. DK's making a snack today. What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? DK's making a snack today. Shove it right into your mouth. DK's making a snack today. What's it gonna be? Is he making it for me? DK's making a snack today. It's time for tactical snacking with DK.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Hopefully you're staying cool out there. I know it's definitely a warm one today. For whatever reason, even though it's not temperature-wise been the hottest day here, for whatever reason it just feels extra hot today. So hopefully if it's hot where you're at, you're staying hydrated and staying cool. So there we go. How's everybody doing? Everyone having a good day? Hey, Accidental Chaos, the birthday boy himself is here. Welcome. And yeah, so today we're making teriyaki chicken in honor of Accidental Chaos's birthday, and it should be a good one. There's going to be a lot of leeway, but that's okay because eventually it's going to be your food, and so, you know, whatever you decide to do with it, there you go. Hey, Avocado Cream Kitchenade is here. Welcome. A couple of little kind of housekeeping things. First thing you'll notice is that periodically, well, I shouldn't say periodically, about every 10 minutes or so, there'll be an automatic message thrown out by the snack bot. That was something that I was wanting to kind of get sorted out, but the old way of doing it was setting up individual messages and putting them on timers. And thankfully, thanks to a newly published YouTube video from a gentleman by the name of Andy Lippy, figured out how to set up basically revolving messages. So a different message will go out every 10 minutes as opposed to, oh, you know, all these messages going out at different times and periodically ending up with spam in the chat from the snack bot. So that's a good thing. The other thing that particular video helped me figure out was something that I've been wanting to do for a very long time, but could never figure out how to get it set up. And I made it happen, and it works. I tested it yesterday and got it all sorted out, so it's kind of exciting. At least for me, it's exciting. Oh my gosh, little girl. Let me guess, somebody's walking by. Vera. Hi, Jane. What's going on, big guy? What are you doing? What are you doing, little girl? You guys have been hanging out, mostly sleeping all day, and now you decide to start barking and oh, good job, Jane. Anyways. Alright. Oh, hang on. Oh, good girl. Yeah, good boy. Alright. You gonna be good for goodness sakes? Whoa. So, anyways, as I was saying, channel point redeem that I got figured out. So, if you go down in the channel point redeems, you'll notice that in theory at the front of the list is the greater good channel point redeem. Now, previously, when you go to redeem it, a single clip from Hot Fuzz would play. So I've changed the cooldown, and I encourage whomever wishes to participate to feel free to spam the heck out of it.
The greater good.
Because I'm kind of proud of what it will do. Okay, so there's one. Do it again. Anyways, I'm pretty proud of this. Because in that particular movie, if you've ever seen Hot Fuzz, you'll know that the occurrence of the greater good gets spoken repeatedly throughout the film. And I always wanted to set it up to where, you know, the first time you play it, like just now, it would play the very first clip of the movie.
The greater
And the next
good.
time, it plays the next one, and so forth and so forth and so forth. And so that's what we got set up. So from now on, it will just cycle through all of the clips of the greater good from Hot Fuzz in order throughout the very end of the film. So I'm kind of proud of that, because I had to kind of finagle a few things, and it took a little bit of setting up and getting done and clipping everything and whatever, but it made me smile, so there we go. Okay, let's get to cooking. On the menu for today, we've got the teriyaki chicken, which earlier in the Instagram stories, you'll see, if you've seen it, I deboned and got into a brine some chicken thighs. I've got those sitting here. We need to get them out and get them drying so they're not all soggy and wet when we go to actually cook them off. So we need to pull those out. The other thing we need to get going is the rice. What I do have here is this rice I had washed, and it's been sitting and soaking in water for about the last 30, actually it's been about 45 minutes now. So I'm gonna go pop this in the rice cooker to get it going. There we go. Okay, so we've got rice going, and that'll be ready in time for everything else. Next thing I need to do is get the chicken out of the brine, and I want to get that dried off so then when we go to actually cook it, that it won't be all soggy and everything else. In here, when we weighed it out, was oh good. There's the recipe message that just went up. 1,528 grams of chicken was what the weighed amount of it was, and so there's a pretty basic formula for figuring out how much of everything else you need, and this one's done by sort of a I think they call it a displacement or something like that. I don't remember. But you use an equal volume of water. So in this case, 1,528 grams of water. And then it's about 54 grams of salt and 31 grams of sugar. What I typically do when I make the brine for this is I start off with some of the water as hot water. Hey, Dee, welcome. Good to see you here today. Hopefully you're having yourself a nice, relaxing day, especially after the late night last night. Just talking about the brine for the teriyaki chicken that we're about to pull out. I've used the same brine calculator repeatedly, and it works fantastic. And that's why I went with it for this. So then that way the chicken is nice and it'll be well seasoned, it'll be moist, it'll be wonderful. So all I'm wanting to do is pull it out, kind of let it drip dry for a bit, and then onto, I've got paper towels on a rack over a sheet tray here, and then we'll throw some paper towels over the top to kind of dry them off. When I went and boned these out earlier today, I also trimmed off a bunch of the excess fat and skin because we weren't going to need it for this particular application. Now I will say that when it comes time to cook these up, there's so many options for what you can do. You can easily throw them on the barbecue if you wanted, and then finish them off with the teriyaki sauce. You can bake them if you wanted, fry them up in a pan. But I think what we're gonna do today is, I'm not going to be able to do all of these at the same time, but I think I'm going to do them in the air fryer. And so we will get, probably get 4 of these into the air fryer at a single time. And we'll let them go for the bulk of the time that they need to cook. And then we'll only finish off for like the last couple of minutes with the glaze. So there we go. Okay. So I'm just going to let these kind of dry out for a bit. I'm just going to have them off to the side here, and then in a little while we'll go ahead and pull paper towels off and let them kind of air dry even more so. So, okay, we got that going. Chicken's drying out. Rice is going. The next thing that's going to take any amount of time really is going to be the teriyaki sauce. And so thankfully, it's a pretty hands-off kind of thing. The only thing that takes any real time is letting it simmer for about 45 minutes or so, just to let it reduce and kind of naturally thicken up that way, so it turns into that glaze-like consistency that we're looking for. The recipe for that should have been thrown up, but I will throw the link in there again. The link to the Discord that has the teriyaki sauce recipe, and it's done in parts. Are we going to see fire? Yes we are. Maybe. Depends on how visible the flames are when we go to ignite the alcohol. But in the recipe, I talk in there about, for the methodology, heating up the mirin in the pan first and bringing it to a boil and igniting the alcohol to get it kind of burned off. Whenever you go to burn off alcohol, you got to be really careful because you can't always see the flames that are there, just because of the compounds that ignite and actually burn. Sometimes they go from kind of in the really light blue into the sort of like the ultraviolet sort of part of the spectrum, and so you can't really see them, but they're definitely there, and so you got to be careful. But I've set things on fire on the stove a bajillion times, and so I'm not really terribly concerned about it. But at that point is when we start adding in the sugar and the honey, getting that to dissolve, and then turning down the heat and throwing in the soy sauce. That is kind of a little pro tip that I picked up recently, is that when you're making anything with soy sauce, specifically if you're like making a sauce or anything that has some kind of heat to it, adding the soy sauce last and trying not to heat it as much is generally considered best practice. So then that way it doesn't greatly affect the flavor of the soy sauce itself. Now, the soy sauce that I'm using today is just a straight up normal bottle of Kikkoman, just the regular soy sauce. Okay, we're going to use the whole bottle, and this is the measurement that we're going to be basing the recipe off of. So in the recipe, I listed it as 4 parts soy sauce, 4 parts mirin. Let's see, 3 parts sugar, and then 1 part honey. So for 10 ounces of soy sauce, it's going to be 10 ounces of mirin, 7.5 ounces of sugar, and 2.5 ounces of honey. And that's going to be the basic sauce. And then we're going to throw in some aromatics. Specifically, we're going to throw in some ginger. We're going to crush some garlic cloves. And I feel like throwing in a couple of Chili Japones, just to add a touch of spice to it. Because I like teriyaki sauce that's like sweet and salty and a little bit of heat to it. Personally, that's just kind of my jam. But we're going to leave everything in kind of big chunks, so then that way it's really easily strained out. So we have a really clean sauce to use as a glaze later on. So in terms of stuff that we need to get prepped up, it's literally going to be, just want to trim off the ends of the ginger here because they're a little funky, but I scrubbed this chunk of ginger earlier, so I'm not going to worry about peeling it. And that's that. I mean, it's honestly that simple. Then we'll throw garlic in. As for how much of the aromatics to actually put in, I don't have like a set amount. It's just kind of what I'm feeling. You just really kind of, it's kind of a crazy thing to say, but you really do it to taste. So if you want, less ginger, more garlic, go for it. If you want more garlic, less ginger, have at it. If you want a whole bunch of spice, you can do that too. So there's really no end to the kind of the variations that you can make with it. But in playing with kind of this base sauce recipe, to be honest, there's a few things that you can kind of play with. You don't necessarily have to use all mirin. You could use mirin and sake. It's really, up to your personal preference. I've got mirin, so I'm going to use mirin. This guy right here. It is a sweet cooking sake. It's not meant to be drunk. It is meant to just be used in cooking, and it's a super, super common ingredient used not only in Japanese but in Korean cooking too. Both used quite a bit. So, all right. Let's measure out the sugar. I could use brown. I could use white. You know what? Let's use brown. It's kind of what I'm feeling today. What would happen if you drink it? To be honest, it's not gonna hurt you. It's just not meant for drinking. It's kind of like cooking sherry or like cooking wine. It's like you could drink it, but I wouldn't recommend it. Alright, I am kind of eyeing about 7.5 there. This is not a full cup. And then the honey, I'm just going to eyeball also when I go to add it in. Okay, so I've got this, got these. Alright, let's go to the stove. I'm using my saucier for this, just so then that way, when I go to actually mix it up, I've got these sloped sides, and nothing gets stuck in a corner. Okay, so let's measure out 10 ounces of Mirin. Alright, 10 ounces of Mirin. And we'll turn that. Got my torch here that I'll use to ignite it when the time comes. I'm just preemptively taking the little shaker top out of the soy sauce bottle because I'm using the entire bottle. There's no need to keep it in there. Come on. Trying something a little bit different with the apron today. Decided to tie it in front. My shoulder's been bugging me a little bit, and so tying behind my back is a little painful. So I'm trying to do it in the front just to see how that works out. Could be a, massive failure, big dumpster fire, but that's how it works. You know what? Let's move it over a little bit. There we go. Gotta risk it for the biscuit, as they say. It's true. Can't make an omelet without cracking some eggs. Alright, so this is now starting to bubble. You know what, let me turn that light off because hopefully it'll be a little bit more visible. Okay. That went very easily and without incident. Whew. Okay. Sugar in. And aiming for about 2.5 ounces, which is 5 tablespoons. Sorry, it took me half a second there. 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. Sugar's pretty well dissolved. There's a couple of little bits that have yet to dissolve from the sugar, but that'll get worked out soon enough. So I'll turn the heat down. Soy sauce in. Turning the heat back up just a little bit, just to kind of get it bubbling and simmering, and then we'll throw in all the aromatics. There we go. Alright. Giving it a quick rinse the thing so that it can just be immediately loaded in the dishwasher later. Ginger and garlic. Few chili Japones. Not too many, and it should impart a pretty nice little warmth to everything. There we go. Alright, so we're just going to gently let that kind of do its thing for the next 30 to 45 minutes or so. That's kind of where we're at with that. Next up, we're going to be doing some miso butter mushrooms. Now, the recipe that I have listed on the Discord, it's to do them in like a foil pouch in the oven. I'm not going to do that because I really don't feel like turning the oven on. So we're just going to do it on the stovetop in a wok. And so we'll just kind of saute it up that way and add the miso butter sauce. So that's pretty simple. Don't need to worry about it too much. I am going to set a timer. I want to turn that down a little bit. So the last thing I want to have it do is reduce too quickly and decide to scorch. Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, when it comes to finishing off that chicken, it's like I mentioned earlier, there's a bunch of different options of what you can do. You can pan fry and then add the teriyaki sauce in as a final glaze. There's, you can throw them on the grill them up, and then brush on your teriyaki glaze to finish them off that way, and drizzle extra over the top when you're done. That's a fantastic way. Baking them in the oven. Again, since these are boned out, they come together a lot quicker than normal, and so that baking them is a totally valid way of doing it. Today, however, I think I'm going to use the air fryer. It just seems like a good idea today. So I'll get probably 4 of them into the basket, I think is how many I can get in there comfortably. Making sure that there's enough space around the individual chicken pieces. We'll get those going at 400 in the air fryer for about, I'm guessing about 11 to 12 minutes is my guess. And then we'll dunk the chicken into some of the teriyaki sauce and then back into the air fryer for a couple more minutes just to kind of set that glaze. Hey, Juice Groove, thank you for the follow. For some reason, I don't recall seeing the alert go up about it, but I just saw it on here, so thank you for the follow. Sorry I didn't mention it sooner. No, I'm not going to stir fry the chicken accidental chaos. I'm going to do them in the air fryer. So it's effectively a small tabletop convection oven is really what we're talking about here. So you could stir fry it if you wanted to. Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, if we wanted to, we could very easily cut this chicken up into bite-sized pieces, stir fry it, and then add in the teriyaki sauce at the very end. There's no reason why you couldn't do that either. It's super versatile. There's a bunch of stuff you can do with it, so it's completely and utterly up to you. Okay. Tsunamono salad. It is a cucumber salad that gets served all over Japan. Japanese restaurants serve it all the time. It is a cucumber salad that's dressed with a little bit of rice vinegar. There's a little salt, a little sugar, a little soy sauce, some sesame seeds. But a big part of it is sweating the cucumber. So let's get started on that. The recipe is on the Discord. There's a link to the website where I grabbed the recipe from for it. So, a couple of things. So it's not 100% necessary to add the wakame seaweed, which is what this is. And it comes in a dried pouch. It's pretty inexpensive. It's the same seaweed that you, when you go out to a Japanese restaurant and they usually serve you some kind of miso soup, the little bits of seaweed that are in there, it's wakame. So we're going to rehydrate some of this to go into the salad because it's just a nice little crunchy addition that I like. One does not necessarily have to have it. It's not a make or break for it, to be honest. But this stuff, let me change camera. Pretty dried, looks really small, but it rehydrates and gets quite a bit bigger. So I'm gonna go grab a bowl and get some water in it, and we're gonna rehydrate that for about 10-20 minutes. Doing anything fun for your birthday, Accidental Chaos? So we only need a little bit. When I say a little bit, I literally mean like a couple of grams. It's like this is plenty right here. Just drop that in there. My counters are clean, you guys know that. And of course it never decides to go back into the same bag again. I drummed for a bit. Hey, you know what? How one decides to spend their birthday is entirely up to them. And I will say that, like, at least for me personally, when it's come to celebrating my birthday, I usually am not one to have, like, any kind of big blowout or anything like that. It's just not, I don't know, it's not my style. I tend to be significantly more low-key than that. Some of my favorite birthdays that I can remember, most recently at least, one of which involved me going to a junkyard and just kind of going around and wrenching on some cars because it was a fun thing to do. And so I did that. One birthday I spent, like, I didn't actually have to work, which was kind of nice. And I spent a good portion of it on YouTube watching fruit carving videos. because that was something I was kind of getting into, and so I spent, it was fruit carving videos and also videos on how to break down different types of fish. That was just what, I wanted to do that day, and so that's what I did. One year I decided to kind of pull a Hobbit birthday, and instead of having like a party where like, oh yeah, bring gifts for me or anything like that, I made a giant pot of pho and just I just threw up an open invitation to anybody that wanted to come and eat, and not to bring anything, but just roll in. And it was awesome because there were people that showed up that I hadn't seen in years. And so it was a great birthday. So if gonna play Magic the Gathering with the boys after the stream, nice. Got some sushi. Yeah, see? Keeping it simple is a great thing. I personally, I don't, necessarily feel the need to do any kind of like massive blowout. But you know what? No, if that's your deal, if you love having a big old blowout, knockdown, drag out kind of party, then by all means, go for it. It's all you. A nice relaxing birthday. That's just kind of my speed. It's what I'm into. Okay, let's check that. That is simmering nicely. Let's turn it down just a little bit more. Okay. In my giant pile of bowls. So for this kind of salad, the Japanese style cucumbers they're usually kind of difficult to find unless you've got a sizable Japanese population in your area, and there's Japanese markets that might have them, but they tend to be really long, skinny cucumbers that are pretty smooth, but they're super crunchy. Persian cucumbers like this are an excellent substitute, so that's what we're doing because this is what I can get a hold of. Let's see. My last big hurrah for birthday was like 4 years ago. We had like 150 show up through the night. I lost my car keys, socks, shirt, and umbrella. That was the last big party I'm ever having. See, and sometimes those big parties are a good time. I don't mind attending big parties like that as long as they're not about me. Because sometimes those big parties just have a lot of awesome memories from them. I will say that. My rice cooker's telling me that it's going to start releasing steam. Oh, let's see if it's... Oh, it's behind the fridge. You can't really see it, unfortunately. So for the salad, we want to slice these guys pretty thin. Thus, I'm bringing out the mandolin of death. And I just gave these a quick rinse. I'm just going to take one end off of them. I'm going to end up munching on this probably for the rest of the night since it's, day 13 of 15 of the July sumo tournament in Nagoya. Man, last night was kind of exciting, I will say that much. Busting out the mandolin, darn right. There were a number of matches where you were kind of expecting it to go one way, and it didn't. Some went exactly the way you thought they were gonna. I will say that Mrs. Waso and myself have been having an awful lot of fun gambling channel points during the Division 2 matches. and last night was kind of a big night, at least for me, in terms of winnings. Well, let's just say that at one point I was down about 20K, but then I came back and am now up 20, I think 22 over where I was yesterday. So it was a pretty good night. Thankfully, there's some very diligent folk that produce an English translated schedule of the matches for the day, and they have links to like the wrestlers' bios, and so you can actually look through them, and it's kind of cool because on the website it'll show you like their history throughout the tournaments of who they fought, whether or not they won or lost, and it goes back a pretty decent ways, and so you're actually able to look up and see like, oh, these two have never fought before, or as is the case for one pairing tonight, they've actually battled, I think, a total of 7 times, but it's been a bit of a split in terms of how they've done it against each other. So it's, I'm surprised you don't host Discord watchings with the sumo wrestling. I know. I think it's mostly because I'm too busy just like sitting on the couch and watching it with Mrs. Waiso, as opposed to kind of sitting down and actually like, okay, let's do this. But the last few days have been really also interesting for a couple of other reasons. The big one being is that a number of the, they call them, I'm totally blanking now, stables. They don't ask me why they're called stables, but the stables of the sumo wrestlers, a number of the stables have been completely taken out of the tournament because somebody tested positive for COVID, and the current protocols when it comes to dealing with that is that if somebody tests positive, then the rest of the stable is quarantined for the duration of the tournament. So it doesn't matter if it's like one person who wasn't around anybody else tested positive and everybody else is fine. The entire stable is out, which is kind of a bummer because it means that a lot of matches the last 2 days haven't happened because so many people have been absent because they've had to be. Now, normally it's like, okay, you're absent, who cares sort of thing, but the way that it works with sumo is if you're absent, it's counted as a loss on your record, but it's a loss / withdraw. And how you do at each tournament determines your ranking for when the next tournament comes up. So because of this, it is going to cause a lot of chaos on the rankings. So it's unclear what exactly is going to happen in terms of like how it's going to be treated by the Sumo Association, I should say. If they're just, you know, how are they deciding to do it? No, it's not. No, they don't reschedule them at all. It's every tournament takes place for 15 days, and they're every 2 months. And of those 6 tournaments that happen throughout the year, 3 of them are considered kind of like the Grand Nationals, as it were. So it is interesting because these guys like operate on a year-round basis. It's not like, you know, professional sports, like professional team sports throughout the bulk of the world where, you know, you have a season kind of thing. And so you play for X amount of months and then you're off. With these guys, it's full-time all year. So, okay. We got lots of cucumber now. So now we need to salt these and kind of let them soak to drain out some of the the moisture that's in there, and then we'll squeeze them out before dressing them. Oh, and if you haven't noticed, remember that little bit of seaweed that we added to this? See how big it's gotten? So we'll run a knife through this before adding it. We're not going to have giant pieces of little conry in there. Hi, little puppy. The other thing that happens every tournament too is towards the very end. Naturally, they just don't hold anywhere near as many matches. So in the lower, like divisions, what is it, like 6, 5, 4, and 3? There'll be like 150 people taking part, but they don't fight every day. The guys in the lower ranks only compete like every other day, and so they'll like have a match, and then they'll have a day off, and then they'll have a match. Whereas the Division 2 and Division 1 guys have matches every day for 15 days, and it takes a toll. There's been a couple of injuries this tournament that have just been like, oh. It's like you watch them and they go flying out of the ring, and so the ring is actually kind of on a raised platform. It's about 2 feet up. The ring itself is about 9 feet in diameter, and then there's some space kind of around the edge, but going off of it is kind of common. And for the longest time, like, they wouldn't even have like medical staff like on standby. There have been guys that have died up there because that's just how it is. I mean, it's a brutal sport, especially when you start watching. Well, I shouldn't say like just the upper, like the Division 1 matches tend to be like pretty hardcore and really like high level wrestling. But I would say sometimes the most hardcore matches tend to be in the Division 3 ranks, and the reason for that is because they're trying really hard to advance into Division 2. Because when you hit Division 2, that's when you actually start drawing an actual salary. Division 2 and 1 will draw like a normal salary, whereas everyone else doesn't. Sometimes they'll get like a bit of an allowance, but room and board and food is provided by the stable itself. So it really kind of behooves people to get up into those upper ranks, because that's where they can start making money, and they can also start getting sponsors. So when you watch like the entrance ceremonies for Division 2 and Division 1, they'll have their aprons on, and a lot of them you'll see like logos and stuff. It's because they're from their top sponsors. Enho is a great example. Enho, total underdog. The guy only weighs like 100 kilograms, which is a featherweight in comparison to everybody else. The apron that he's currently wearing has a cartoon beaver on it, and it's actually the logo of this candy company that is his #1 sponsor. So, just as, you know, the more you know. Hi, puppy. I'm going to move this to the back burner. Because I'm going to want that front burner. I don't know if you could hear that, but it's the sound my rice cooker makes. Okay. pull off those paper towels. So we gotta let that sit for a bit, and then we'll finish up the salad, and then we'll get the mushrooms and everything going. So here's the chicken. I made a somewhat sizable quantity, knowing that, well, we were going to want to eat on this for a couple of days. Which actually reminds me, I am probably going to be taking the next few Saturdays off from streaming, just because we've got some people coming over in about a month, and I've got a bunch of stuff that I need to get done leading up to them coming. And Saturday generally is the best day for me, at least in order to get that kind of thing done. If I'm streaming, I'm usually like focused on doing all that sort of thing. And last thing I want to do is try to bust out like all this work and be like, okay, now we gotta, I gotta prep and get everything ready for streaming. So, yeah, I'll probably be taking, I think about the next month of Saturdays off. From streaming specifically, so then that way I can deal with that. But I'll still be here on like Tuesday and Thursday. Although I could very easily throw in tacky snacks after dark during that time, or who knows? If something comes up, we can do more. No big deal. So, all right, that is good. That is soaking. Now we can work on the butter mushrooms. In the original recipe for it, it uses a fairly wide variety of mixed mushrooms that you can easily get in Japan. You can easily get them here too. I didn't have the time to hit up those particular markets, so I figured, you know what, I'm just gonna make it with straight up creminis, because I feel like at least recently the ones that we've been able to get have been pretty good and have had a good flavor, and so I feel like using them in this particular recipe, it's all good. But if you can get a hold of things like shimeji, maitakes, enoki, king oyster, kind of all those fun mushrooms, then by all means, absolutely have at it. Yeah, sumo wrestlers do not get sponsored until Division 2 or higher. And that's just it. What's really interesting is, so like you'll watch like a lot of the Division 1 matches, there'll be like a little parade of banners before some of the bouts, and it's literally the clubs or the sponsors that the wrestlers have. Sometimes it's a booster club, fans of so and so that got together and sponsor them, and so they give them money on a monthly basis or something. Sometimes it's corporate sponsorship. Sometimes it's multiple things. The more popular and famous ones will end up doing commercials for things, and watching the Japanese ads featuring sumo wrestlers are great. They're a lot of fun, and some of them are just they're like giant babies almost, because they're just big and chubby and just yeah, and you see them fighting, you're like, oh my gosh, these guys, are violent, but they're like, no, I like chill music, and they're really just like big teddy bears. It's kind of funny. All right, let's get to work on that stuff. So, got some onion left over from Tuesday, so we'll use some of that. And then I got a big old bag of creminis here. I'm not going to use them all. I'm don't know. We'll see how many I feel like making, because I definitely am gonna want some leftovers. But I gotta go give them a wash. Oh, we got some big ones in here. We're just gonna slice them up. And let's see. That's 5, 6, 7. Let's do 8. Yeah, we'll do 8. And then we'll do kind of like an equivalent amount of onions. And then we'll get that all thrown together. So I'm going to go give these a wash. Okay. Oh. That is the seaweed getting bigger? Yes, yes it is. Let's have a look at that teriyaki. So it's kind of foamy.
The greater good.
It's definitely reduced. Let's see what it's looking like.
Yes, I like it.
Kind of looking at the consistency. So I want kind of a glaze consistency, so it's a little bit, it's not super gloopy thick. So if you can see that, I mean that's still thinking it's a little thin. But let's give it a taste. A little bit of heat. That's some good stuff. So we're going to put that back on the heat for, let's say, 10 minutes. Is the music not playing? Oh, the music is playing. Okay, it looks like I suddenly look over, I'm looking at the sound levels, and for some reason I'm not seeing any music coming through. But it looks like the music I guess was there. But it looks like it's playing now, so we're good. Okay. So peel the onion a little bit. There we go. Okay. So for that, I'm thinking one slice right there. All right. There. Okay. That should do it for onion. These are creminis. That's good to go. And I just gave these a quick rinse, and then I have a sponge that I use specifically for vegetation to clean them off. General understanding, I guess, that most people have when it comes to mushrooms is that you can't get them near any water because they'll just soak up the moisture like a sponge. I've talked about this before, but that's completely and utterly false. That's not true at all. Whatever additional weight these mushrooms might have gained by being exposed to water, it's literally just whatever's sitting on the surface. It's negligible. They don't act like sponges at all. So, no need to worry. Feel free to wash your mushrooms. Okay, let's give these a slice. I'm just doing slices like that, and then I mean, I suppose I could get out the mandolin of death again, but it's just easier. Then I gotta run out to the garage and get the miso since it's in the fridge out there. I think Mrs. Weiss will be home probably in the next 10 to 15 minutes is my guess. She had to stay a little late today because she went in late. Oh, well, I know she'll be okay talking about this. I don't mind mentioning. She took a take-home sleep apnea test. I think it was last week, and she had not gotten any results. Well, actually she had, she just hadn't realized it. She has severe sleep apnea, like severe sleep apnea, like top 5% kind of thing. It kicked her up to the top of the list for getting a CPAP. So she'll be getting one of those in the not too distant future. It's good to know for sure now, at least, because hopefully this will help her get some proper sleep, because she's been having kind of a rough go of getting sleep for a while now because of that. I mean, I could honestly, because she had a doctor's appointment yesterday, and we went to it, and the doctor was reading through the results and everything, and it was just like, yeah, I could have told you that. Just from sitting there with her when she falls asleep on the couch, yeah, it's bad. Like, there's times when I swear she's just gonna choke on her tongue or something. So, it's been a bit worrying, but at least that's managed. So, okay, that's cut up, ready to go. Let me go get the miso. Okay, got our miso. So I need 2 tablespoons of this, 2 tablespoons of sake that we'll mix together in a bowl. And that'll be kind of the main seasoning that'll go on it. We'll saute these up in butter and then add the sauce to them towards the end, just to kind of get a bit of a glaze on them. Yeah, sleep apnea can be scary. In going through the actual graph of the sleep study, it said that there were her oxygen levels at a couple of times dropped to like 50%, which is scary low. Scary low. Alright, I'm just using some Shochikubai extra dry. This is a Magnum. It's just dry sake. This is totally stuff that if you wanted to, you can drink if you wanted. It's not like the greatest of quality stuff, but you could if you wanted. So I'm eyeballing about 2 tablespoons here. And I use this stuff all the time for like steaming. We've talked about it, but I love cooking with it. And then eyeballing about 2 tablespoons. Wanting to get this mixed up a little bit so it's ready to go when we go to get the mushrooms and onions sauteed up. It's not 100%, but it's looking real good, so I'm happy with that. Who wants sake bombs? There you go. That's set. That is still reducing. Alright. These release quite a bit of liquid. So I'm going to go give these a good squeeze out at the sink. That's the timer for the teriyaki. I'm going to wait on squeezing. Let's do it. Okay. Definitely thicker, so I'm gonna call that good. And we'll give that a strain. Want to go outside now? Oh, I hear the door. That means Mrs. Hueso has returned home. Yeah, you were at work.
On the other side of town.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was pretty close to my prediction. I said you'd be home in about 10-12 minutes, and that was about 9 minutes ago. So there's our teriyaki sauce ready to go. We're going to keep that on hand because we got to get the chicken going.
Oh, good. My coworker was like, "You're having teriyaki? Can I have some?"
Oh.
And I was like, "Of course."
This is the coworker we like, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The coworker we like.
Gotcha.
Hey, everybody. Hi,
I knew you would not be. You would be okay with me telling him about this sleep apnea.
Yeah. I have sleep apnea.
Yes.
Apparently really bad. So I get a machine in 4 to 5 days.
Which is unheard of.
Yeah. That's because I have sleep apnea.
That's because she's got it really bad. So, all right.
That's okay. So do other millions of people.
This is true. Okay. I'm going to go squeeze these out and give them a quick rinse. And then we'll get the dressing made for this. And then we can start making the chicken and taking care of business. These are giving off a lot of liquid. A lot of liquid. The whole reason why we're doing this is so that the liquid that's in the cucumbers doesn't dilute the dressing. So, I'm going to show you all for reference. That was the liquid that was just in the bottom of the bowl. And that's just from a small amount of cucumber. So. Hi, Jane. I understand it would probably seem pretty silly for me to go to all the trouble of squeezing out all that liquid, only to then rinse off the cucumbers, but the reason for doing that is so that I'm trying to get rid of any extra salt, so then that way the salad isn't overly salty. So here's our thinly sliced cucumbers that have got a bit of seasoning to them, but they're not salty, so that is what I wanted. Just in case there's any extra, we can make the dressing there in the bowl. Okay. Got our block in here. I'll go drain real quick and we'll, I got big. I got real big. Use the liquid from the cucumber, the dressing for the salad? No. You get rid of the liquid from the cucumber. Okay. Dispose out the seaweed because there was a lot going on there. So I'm just cutting this up into little slices. And it'll be pretty irregular, but that way it'll be more manageable to eat. And again, if you don't want the wakame, then you don't need to have it. It's not that big of a deal. Okay. So that is it. Okay. Next up, dressing. We need sugar, a little soy sauce, and rice. So we need about 4 tablespoons or so of rice vinegar. And then a couple of tablespoons of sugar. Kind of help balance it out, and then just a splash of soy sauce. Just a little. Bust out my panda chopsticks. I'll give that a stir. Okay. Let's give it a taste. Okay. Excellent. A little bit of a vinegar bite. A little sweetness on the back end. Let's grab some fry. Nice. So that is good to go. To finish it, when it comes time to actually eat, sprinkle on some scallions and some toasted sesame seeds. That'll be the, time to toss the salad. That will be the perfect garnish for it. Alright, let's put this stuff away, and then it's time to get the chicken going. Instant pot. Hello. Alright. Got our instant pot here. Or air fryer. And I'm gonna line the bottom with some foil because even though it's technically non-stick, it can be a real pain to wash. So, pop that in. Okay. And we turn to, let's say, temp. Air fry temp. 400 time. We're going to do a 5-minute preheat. And then when it's ready to go, we'll load up a couple of the chicken thighs and get them going. And then during that time, while that is going, we'll get the mushrooms and everything else. That is there. That. Got some butter candy. Alright. Since we've got them, go ahead and stir the rice now. I always try to have a bowl of water for the paddle to sit in, just so then that way, in the event that there's any rice that sticks to the paddle, it comes off into that water. And it also helps when you go to actually scoop up rice to help keep it from sticking to it in the first place, which is really kind of what we want. And I think right now is a good time.
Groovy.
We've got leftover scallions chopped up from Tuesday, so that's super helpful, but Heim folks. I actually managed to find the grape Rockstar Pure Zeros. For whatever reason, the normal places that I go have been out of them for like 2 months. It's actually more like 3. So having actually found some, it was nice because that's my preferred flavor. Let's wipe off the cutting board since... Oh, there we go. Add food. I should probably get a trivet for that. Okay. So I'm going to do these skin side up. And it's also looking like I'm not going to be able to get 4 in there at one time. It's looking like I might be able to get 3. Yeah. Alright, so that's... Whoop! It would help if I switched the cameras. So this is where we're at. We got 3 of them loaded in there. 15 minutes. Okay. Let's get started on them mushrooms. I like the Pure Zeros Accidental Chaos because the whole can is 20 calories and there's no sugar. I just tend to prefer the no sugar stuff. Just confessional time. I used to be a big straight up Monster drinker. Green cans. For the longest time I was drinking like 6 a day. For a really long time. And I was thinking at one point, it's like, wow, this isn't... I didn't realize like how much sugar was actually being consumed in those on a daily basis. And I forget how long ago this was. But I stopped drinking any of the ones with sugar in them. So I switched to like a Monster Ultra Zero, I think is what they're called. The zero sugar ones. And I've never looked back. I started... The reason why I picked up the Rockstars as opposed to the Monsters was... Honestly, it was a cost thing. What had happened was the cost of the Monsters had gone up. Like, if I could find them for about $1.50 each, I was usually pretty happy about that. But if the price had gone... They'd gone up to nearly $2 or something like that. And I was having a difficult time justifying that expenditure. So here's these Rockstar Pure Zeros on sale for 99 cents. So I'm like, you know, what the hey, I'll try, you know, because I preferred the Ultraviolet for the Monster, which was their grape one. So hey, Pure Zero and grape. Cool, I'll give it a shot. I liked them, and so I've stuck with them because, at least for me, they have predominantly been cheaper. So that's kind of been... That was my reason for trying them in the first place, but I prefer the flavor now. Okay. Bit of butter in the pan. Left it on the burner a little long. That's okay, now we've got brown butter. Brown butter just flat out tastes better. There we go.
It's burning so much. the fryer?
The chicken.
Oh.
Oh, let's see.
Happy birthday, Accidental Chaos! I remembered! Hopefully it's a good day for you.
I forgot to set a timer because I set this for 15 minutes. I forgot to set a timer for this, so then that way I can pull it out with a couple of minutes remaining and get the teriyaki sauce on them. So I just set a timer for that.
Yep.
So, you're not looking for a snack, are you?
I am.
Dinner's going to be ready very soon.
Okay, go away. I forgot my afternoon snack.
Oh.
Careful, was waiting a pain.
Oh, yeah? Good. Hi, Jane. Jane's like, I smell something good, so he just wanted to come check it out. Drum, get sushi, and relax is always a good day, totally. Oh, hey baby, thanks for the resub.
A resub?
According to this, you just resubbed.
Ooh, a resub.
That's pretty funny. I'm wondering if... How did the what to, huh?
I got 400 nuts.
Oh, because that happens when you've consistently been to a streamer's stream, like every time. So the longer you hit every one of their streams, there's like, yeah, like a 450 bucks. Yeah, there's a bonus. Like, thank you for your loyalty. You get it. As soon as it starts and after it goes for a couple of minutes, you'll get it. I talked about sumo quite a bit earlier. Nice. So yeah, these other 5 that I've got, I can either throw on the grill a little bit later, or I can just do them in the air fryer after this, or something. We've got options. Hey, puppy. Oh, I told the stream that I'm going to take the next month of Saturdays off, just in preparation for our guests coming in August.
Okay.
So then that way, it is only a few weeks.
Oh.
Oh, I forgot to mention the saga of the wall AC unit. What was it, last week, week before, Mrs. Hueso had ordered that wall unit that was broke out of the box. The new one came on Tuesday. Yesterday morning it was installed, and it's been working like a dream. So hooray! The saga of the wall AC unit has a happy ending finally. So thank goodness.
Yeah, I was very happy with that.
Good. Okay, I think these are about ready to have miso mix added to them. That is looking and smelling quite good. Turn food? No, I don't want to turn food. It's like turn food. No, I want to do it. Hey, Lumpy Pickle! Welcome, welcome, buddy. Now that you're here, feel free to go crazy with the Greater Good channel point redeem, and you'll get to see my my handiwork.
The greater good.
There's literally a 1 second cooldown, so you can just spam the heck out of it.
The greater good.
Alright.
The greater good. The greater good.
Mushrooms be done.
The greater good.
Oh, there's our timer.
The greater good.
The greater good.
Shut it!
Teriyaki sauce. I'll be done here in a moment. And back in. We got a couple minutes left on that. Crusty jugglers. Yeah, exactly. So, as you were able to see, it cycled through every instance of Greater Good in Hot Fuzz. That took a little bit of work, but I'm happy with it. Mrs. Wayso laughed. Took a little bit of work, because not only did I have to go through the entire film in order to clip out each one, I had to set up each one as an individual thing, and then I had to set up the code in order to keep a persistent counter and cycle through it. And in the playback of each one of them, part of the setting it up is making it visible, pausing for a period of time in order to let it play, and then turning it off again. And then, so after I got it initially set up and I put in times that I thought was about right, I'm sitting here cycling through and be like, okay, this one needs more time in order to kind of get it smoothed out. And it took a bit of time, but once I got it done, I'm really happy with how it came out. So get to work on those visual channel point redeems. Yeah. Well, dude, if you have any questions, Accidental Chaos, hit me up. I use OBS Studio to broadcast, but all of my like channel point redeems and like the reoccurring messages that pop up, all of that is done through an app called StreamerBot, which is phenomenal and incredibly powerful. And there's a bunch of videos on how to set it up and use it, but and I've taught myself literally from scratch how to do it. So if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up. Yeah, the fact that I was able to set up the reoccurring messages in such a way that it doesn't spam the channel like Nightbot or Stream Elements or some of that stuff will. Yeah. So it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. Okay, I'm gonna check these. Well, we got 40 seconds on here. Let's see what happens. Hopefully I didn't leave them in there with the teriyaki sauce for too long, because that would suck. It's true, we could totally lie to you and say it tastes amazing, but... Except, yeah, our facial expressions are going to be like... It was good! 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. It is not overly caramelized. Yes, I heard you. Thank you. All these machines love beeping at me. Beep, 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 beep. So that piece of skin right here, if you can see it, this little crouton of skin used to cover the entire thigh. It shrunk quite a bit. But the chicken does look super juicy. I'm gonna grab an instant thermometer real quick. See where we're at. Turn it to I'm happy with the temps that we're getting with that, so. Although, I would like some additional color. So, let's push that out of the way real quick. You know what? I figure if it's good enough for any given sushi place, it's good enough for me. Give them a further dunk in the sauce. Hit them one more time. There we go. That will do. Oh, that's tasty. I did good, baby. Okay. So let's give these a slice. Seems like I can smell it. Some of it is for me, right? No. Oh man, that's good. Okay. I'm gonna hold off on cutting that one up, because I am gonna have to make these 5 a little bit later. Here comes the money shot. Okay. Let's plate up.
Money shot!
Dishwasher finished like 20 minutes before the stream started, so I didn't chance a little more.
That's okay. That's alright, it's my turn. That's fantastic. Thank you for having your birthday act so fast. Oh!
Aha! Really? That's so surprising. Oh, puppy!
I get to choose what he makes for me for my birthday, but this year I can't really pick. You can see we eat quite the variety of
Puppy,
food.
I'm sorry I stepped on your paw there, but you're hanging out like underneath my feet. Sorry, little girl.
She's fine. Jay's fine too. Oh, Jay's sitting down.
He's like, I'm a good boy.
Come on, good boy. Excuse us.
They know. Alright.
Yeah, I got the big cookies out.
Get some of that salad going.
Sauteed mushrooms.
Boom.
Stand here.
Sumo salad. Yes, you are standing there. I like some butter on my rice. Why? Because it's delicious.
It tastes good.
It tastes good. Oh, I see what piece of chicken you had a piece of.
Mine's the one on the left. It tastes good.
Done that? Yeah, I can do that further. And
Ooh.
some additional sauce.
Now I need a plate.
Yeah. Here we go. Accidental Chaos' happy birthday teriyaki chicken with miso butter mushrooms over rice. Happy birthday there, buddy.
I hope you like mushrooms.
Yeah, I hope you like mushrooms. You did tell me I could do whatever I wanted for vegetation, so there you go. Oh, that is super juicy. Kaboom, baby. That came out good.
It doesn't matter, baby. Kaboom!
Oh. I am kind of curious. Are we still going?
There's a lot of people. But sumo wrestling starts soon. I think you should go that.
Well, I would love to raid Midnight Sumo, except that they are not.
They're not streaming yet.
Not streaming
But they're
yet.
streaming in 15 minutes. Gotta start collecting salt.
Yeah, ideally, I would like to raid into Midnight Sumo, just because then that way y'all get to enjoy the sumo too. Oh, you cut up your chicken even smaller.
Yes, you know I like little bites.
Yeah, that's true. You like itty bitty bites.
Teeny tiny bites. Teeny tiny bites. But then, see, I can make the perfect bite and have multiple things in my mouth at the same time.
Multiple things in your mouth.
Mm-hmm. By that I mean a little bit of rice.
Yes,
some
I know. I
chicken,
know what you mean.
Mushroom.
I know.
Don't be gross.
I'm not being gross. Who's being? Nobody. He didn't say anything.
He didn't. I'm just teasing.
Okay.
See, I'm just teasing. You're not gross.
I would hope not, at least.
I don't think
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna. Okay, we're gonna take a super quick break. I'm gonna get some stuff out of here, and then we'll eat for a little bit. Hopefully.
so. Well, was there somebody else you want to raid, or?
We could raid Grant. You know who else is on?
G-Money.
G-Money is on, but so's Rav.
Rav's cool.
We have not. I don't know if I've raided Rav before.
Let's take our humble group together and raid Rav.
Yeah, we should. Well, let's see. He is playing Doom Eternal.
Okay, do you guys want G-Money or Rav? Let's ask the chat.
Manners. And I do like mushrooms. Okay, very good.
Because he asked me what I wanted. I was like, actually, mushrooms and onions would be awesome.
Yeah. So, there we go. Okay. Yeah, so we'll be back in just a moment, and then I'll get some stuff out of here, and then we will... Hey, Windeer! Welcome, buddy. Yeah, so we'll be back in just a moment. Let me get some stuff out of here. Just a moment.
Hello, boys and ghouls. DK's making a snack today. What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? DK's making a snack today. Shove it right into your mouth. DK's making a snack today. What's it gonna be? Is he making it for me? DK's making a snack today. It's time for tactical snacking with DK. Making a snack gonna be? DK's making a snack today. Shove it right into your mouth. DK's making a snack today. What's it gonna be? Is he making it for me? DK's making a snack today. It's time for tactical snacking with DK. DK's making a snack today. What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? DK's making a snack today. Shove it right into your mouth. DK's making a snack today. What's it gonna be? Is he making it for me? DK's making a snack today. It's time for tactical snacking with DK. DK's making a snack today. What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? DK's making a snack today. Shove it right into your mouth. DK.
Heyo, we be back. Alright. Got stuff cleaned up. Let's see. How's it going, Windeer? How you doing today? Sorry, I was just checking to see what was going on. I figured, you know, it might be kind of fun to raid the sumo channel that we hang out in, Midnight Sumo. That's the just a normal day. Right on. Midnight Sumo is a channel that we watch the tournaments in. The chat's super cool. They are very helpful in answering questions of people who are brand new. And they're like, hey, who is this? What is this? They're generally speaking like the mods and the VIPs, the broadcaster. It's a good group of people that are very helpful in, you know, answering questions or pointing you. It's a while that I last watched Sumo, yeah. But at least pointing you in the right direction for things, and it's a good time. But that's the channel that we usually watch it on. There's a couple of Twitch streams that will also broadcast it, but this is the one that we prefer. So if you're in the mood for it, I highly recommend checking that one out. And yeah, especially when you can bet the salt. But just as like an FYI, Division 2 usually doesn't start until about 10:30 p.m. Pacific, or close to 11, depending. So just as like an FYI, and Division 1 tends to run till nearly 2 a.m. Pacific, which is, I think it normally stops around 6 p.m. local time in Japan, but that's what I'd highly recommend doing. Yeah, they are not on. So you know what? Let's see for a moment, because this is looking good. That is good. That makes me super happy. Oh, the food's awesome. Came out fantastic. Mm. It actually tastes better than it looks. Mm. Okay. Well, happy birthday there, Accidental Chaos. Happy we can do this. Yeah, for anybody else, you know, throw up your birthday like in the Discord. And the kind of stuff that you, because that's kind of, it's a tradition in our family. Yes, I like. You get what it is that you want to eat. It's like, okay, well, what do you want to have for your birthday dinner, sort of thing. And so, yeah, I should start a channel that says birthday meals. And so, yeah, you can put up your birthday and like what kind of thing you'd want to have, and then if we can make it happen, we'll make it happen. So this was fun. But thanks everybody for being here. Thanks for those that have come and gone. Thanks to the lurkers. Thanks to the people that have been active. Accidental Chaos, Lumpy for a little bit, Windier, Avocado Green KitchenAid, D popped up earlier. But thanks to everybody that's been here and has been hanging out. I think we should raid Rav. Because Rav. So let's. There it is. So he's in the process of playing Raid Eternal at the moment. So if that's not your jam, that's totally fine. But there's the raid message. And yeah, let's go say hi to Rav, because he's an amazing singer and in a very cool band out of Canada. If you're unfamiliar with him, you should be, because he's cool. So let's go raid Rav. Thanks again, everybody, and I will see you next Tuesday. It's been fun. See you, folks.
Hello, boys and ghouls. DK's making a snack today. What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?